So apparently having gut issues and being autistic are linked, and more research is going into this, and I found this such an interesting topic because ever since I was small I can always remember having digestive issues, and I was sort of fobbed off by doctors of IBS and things like that, and it never really solved. Nothing they gave me or told me that to do ever saved, my gut. They never solved the problem. And I have to admit that since being vegan, I've been vegan for 9 years, my gut has become massively better, like unbelievably, like night and day better. But this isn't a video for veganism, it's just an observation. However, I've noticed so much that when I get into an overwhelming situation, my gut will automatically change. So, for example, we had family visiting recently, and without eating differently or doing anything different, my stomach was all over the place. And it wasn't just mine, it was my husband's and my son's, and we're all autistic. And my family members who were visiting didn't have any problems. They were visiting from another country, doing things completely out of their routine and, out of their normal day-to-day life. But theirs didn't change. Yet myself, my husband and my son all had, for the whole period that they were here, we had gut issues. We had, diarrhea, we had bloating, we had wind pains, and it was just really annoying. And then I started thinking back, and whenever I would go to visit family abroad, when I was much younger and didn't really have a choice in the matter, I would always have upset tummies, and it wasn't about the food. I could eat just like the plainest thing, just like bread and butter kind of thing, and it would always happen. I would always get out of sync. I would always just become this sort of digestive mess. And this has happened so much over my life, and I've always just thought I just had a funny digestive system. But as I've spoken more and I've done more reading and spoken to more people who are autistic also, and realised that they too have these digestive issues. My husband, he part of his job, he performs on stage, and being autistic, that is a big deal for him, big deal for a lot of people. But while he doesn't feel nervous, in the typical sense of the word, for days leading up to it, and he'll forget every time that he's got a gig coming up, and then he'll, like, a few days beforehand, he'll just have like this just immense pains in his tummy and cramps and upset stomach and all these things. And it's like, why? And we're racking our brains. What have you eaten? What's been different? And then every single time we're like, oh, it's because you've got a performance coming up. And he's not even thinking, about the performance, but his gut already knows that he's got a performance coming up. It's just mental. It's I didn't realise how linked it was. So in a way, I'm quite excited about it because it's always been an issue for me. I could fast and still have these issues. So I know it's not to do with food. Obviously, if you're going to sort of binge on junk food and you have a tummy ache, that's not uncommon, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the stomach being aware almost of something happening, or being when you're in some overwhelm or fight or flight, your stomach just being in knots and upset and in all over the show. So I'd be really intrigued to know, does this happen to you as an autistic person? I know it's not, everyone can suffer with gut issues. You don't have to be autistic, of course, but it does seem to be connected. And like I said, the more I look into it, the more they're starting to realise that while everyone can have gut issues, for some reason, still unknown as far as I know, it does seem to be more prevalent in the autistic community. I'd love to know. I'd love to know if you suffer also, and if you found ways of coping. Because I've certainly been led by my bowels. Sounds a bit gross, but I will like not leave the house until I've gone to the loo, and I will make time around going to the toilet, because I know how important it is just for me to function. And it's kind of ruled my life in a way. Yet not at all. It's very difficult to explain, and I wonder if you're autistic, if you have a similar experience. Please get in touch and let me know if you find the connection between gut issues and autism. Be really interesting.